Hello, welcome back to the reading of the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 2. Excuse me. Chapter 264, Part 2. Instructions to the Apostles at the beginning of their Apostolate. Jesus speaks. Go therefore, curing sick people, cleansing lepers, raising bodies and spirits from the dead, because bodies and spirits can be sick, leprous, dead as well, and you are already aware how a miracle is worked. Through a life of penance, fervent prayer, sincere desire to glorify the power of God, deep humility, living charity, burning faith, and through hope that no kind of difficulty can upset. I solemnly tell you that everything is possible to those who have such virtues. Demons also will flee before the name of the Lord pronounced by you. If you have within you what I said, that power is given to you by me and by our Father. No money can buy it. Only our will grants it. Only a just life keeps it. As it is given to you gratuitously, so gratuitously give it to others, to the needy. Woe betide you if you depreciate the gift of God by using it to fatten your purse. It is not your power. It is the power of God. Make use of it, but do not take possession of it, saying, "It is mine." As it is given to you, so it can be taken away from you. Simon of Jonah, a little while ago, said to Judas of Simon, "Have you got the same itch as Lucifer had?" He gave a correct definition. To say, "I do what God does because I am like God," is to imitate Lucifer. And his punishment is well known. Equally known is what happened to the two progenitors who in the earthly paradise ate the forbidden fruit. Through instigation of the envious one, who wanted to imprison more unhappy souls in his hell, besides the rebellious angels already there, but also through their own itch of perfect pride. The only fruit you are allowed to take from what you do are the souls whom you will conquer for the Lord by means of the miracle, and who are to be given to the Lord. That is your money, nothing else. You will enjoy your treasure in the next life. Go without riches. Do not take with you gold or silver, or money in your purses, or a traveling bag with 2 or more tunics or spare shoes, or pilgrim staff or weapons, because for the time being, your apostolic visits will be short ones. And every Sabbath eve we shall meet, and you will be able to change your sweated garments without having to take spare ones with you. No staff is required, because it is more pleasant to walk without. And what is useful on hills and plains is different from what is useful in deserts and on high mountains. No weapon is needed. Weapons are useful to men who do not know what is holy poverty or divine forgiveness. You have no treasures to protect and defend from robbers. The only robber you must fear is Satan, and he is defeated by perseverance and prayer, not by swords and daggers. Forgive those who offend you. If anyone should rob you of your mantle, give him also your tunic. If you should remain completely nude because of your mildness and detachment from riches, you will not scandalize the angels of the Lord, or the infinite chastity of God, because your charity would clothe your nude body with gold, and your mildness would adorn you like a sash. While your forgiveness towards the robber would give you a royal mantle and crown. You would therefore be better dressed than a king, not with corruptible clothes, but with imperishable material. Do not worry about your food. You will always have what is appropriate for your condition and your ministry, because a worker is always worthy of the food that is offered to him. And if men should not provide for the worker, God will. I have already proved to you that to live and preach, it is not necessary to have your stomachs full of food. That is useful to unclean animals whose purpose in life is to grow fat and then to be slaughtered to fatten men. But you must fatten your own souls and the souls of other people with the food of wisdom, and wisdom is revealed to minds not made dull by guzzling, and to hearts nourished with supernatural food. You have never been so eloquent as after the retreat on the mountain, and then you ate only what was necessary to survive. And yet at the end of the retreat, you were as strong and cheerful as you have never been before. Is that not true? Whatever town or place you enter, find out who is deserving of receiving you. Not because you are Simon, or Judas, or Bartholomew, or James, or John, and so on, but because you are the messengers of the Lord. Even if you had been the dregs of society, or murderers, thieves, publicans, but now you were repentant and at my service. You would deserve respect because you are my messengers. I will say even more. I say, woe betide you if outwardly you look like my messengers, whilst inwardly you are abject servants of Satan. Woe betide you. Hell would be too little compared to what your deceit deserves. But even if you were messengers of the Lord publicly, and at the same time the dregs of society or publicans, thieves, murderers, occulti, and people in their hearts suspected, or were almost certain of that, you would still be entitled to honor and respect, because you are my messengers. The eye of man must see beyond the means, and see the messenger and the final purpose, that is God, and his work beyond the too often faulty means. Only in the case of grave sin, injuring the faith in hearts, I, for the time being, my successors in future, will see that the bad limb is cut off, because it is not lawful that the souls of believers should be lost through a demon priest. It will never be lawful, in order to hide the wounds affecting the apostolic body, to allow gangrenous limbs to survive in it, as their repugnant aspect drives people away, and their demoniac stench is poisonous. So you will find out which is the most righteously living family, where women know how to live in seclusion and morals are chaste. And you will enter that house and live there until you leave the place. Do not imitate drones, which after sucking a flower pass on to a more nourishing one. Whether you arrive among people with a splendid house and rich table, or you happen to go to a humble family, rich only in virtue, stay where you are. Never seek what is better for the perishable body. On the contrary, always give it what is worse, keeping all the rights for the spirit. And whenever possible, give your preference to the hospitality of the poor. I tell you, because it is better to do so. Do so in order not to mortify them, and in memory of me, as I am and will remain poor, and I boast of being poor, and also because very often the poor are better than the rich. You will always find poor people who are just, but only rarely you will find a rich man without any fault. You have no excuse in saying, I found goodness only amongst the rich, in order to justify your keen desire for welfare. When entering a house, greet its inhabitants with my salutation, which is the kindest there is. Say, peace be with you. Let peace be in this house, or let peace come to this house. In fact, as messengers of Jesus and of the gospel, you take peace with you, and your going to one place is to make peace come to it. If the house is worthy of it, peace will come and remain in it. If it is not worthy of it, your peace will come back to you. So mind to be peaceful to yourselves, in order to have God as your Father. A father always helps, and with the help of God, you will do everything, and everything well. It may be, nay, it will certainly happen, that a town or house will not receive you, or will not listen to your words, but will drive you away, or ridicule you, or will chase you, throwing stones at you as born prophets. In such cases, you must be more than ever peaceful, humble, and mild, having acquired such virtues as a habit of life. Otherwise, you will be overwhelmed by anger, and you will commit sin, scandalizing and increasing the incredulity of those you wish to convert. If instead you peacefully accept the insult of being driven away, derided, chased, you will convert people by means of the most beautiful sermon, the silent sermon of true virtue. One day, you will find on your way the enemies of today, and they will say to you, "We have been looking for you because your behavior has convinced us of the truth that you announce. Please forgive us and accept us as your disciples, because we did not know who you were. But now we know that you are saints. And if you are saints, you must be the messengers of a saint. And we now believe in him. But when leaving the town or the house where you were not received, shake the dust off your sandals, so that the pride and harshness of that place may not stick even to your souls. I solemnly tell you, on doomsday, Sodom and Gomorrah will be dealt with less severely. Now I am sending you like sheep among wolves. Be therefore as cunning as serpents, and yet as harmless as doves, because you are aware how the world, in which really there are more wolves than sheep, treats me also, and I am the Christ. I can defend myself by my power, and I will do so until the hour of the temporary triumph of the world comes. But you do not possess that power, and you need greater prudence and simplicity, thus greater sagacity as well, to avoid being scourged and imprisoned for the time being. In actual fact, notwithstanding your statement that you are willing to shed your blood on my behalf, you are not capable at present of putting up with an ironic or angry glance. But the time will come when you will be as strong as heroes against persecutions, even stronger than heroes, and your heroism, which the world cannot conceive or explain, will be called madness. No, it will not be madness. It will be the identification through love of man with the man God, and you will be able to do what I have already done. To understand this heroism, it will be necessary to see it, study it, and judge it from a heavenly level, because it is something supernatural that is beyond all the limitations of human nature. Kings, the kings of the Spirit will be my heroes, forever kings and heroes. In those days they will arrest you, laying hands on you. They will drag you before law courts, garrison commanders and kings, to judge and condemn you for the great sin in the eyes of the world of being the servants of God, the ministers and guardians of good, the masters of virtue. And for that same reason, you will be scourged and punished in many ways, and even killed. And you will give testimony of me to kings, garrison commanders, nations, confessing with your blood that you love Christ, the true Son of the true God. When you are in their hands, do not worry about what you have to reply and what you have to say. Do not grieve then for anybody, but for the judge and accusers led astray by Satan, to the extent of becoming blind to the truth. You will be given the words to be spoken at the time. Your Father will put them on your lips, because it is not you who will be speaking to convert people to your faith and profess the truth, but it will be the Spirit of the Father who will speak in you. Brother will then betray brother to death, and the father his child, and children will rise against their parents and have them put to death. Do not be shocked or scandalized. Tell me, according to you, is it a greater crime to kill a father, a son, a brother, or God himself? God cannot be killed, replied sharply Judas Iscariot. That is true. He is an invincible spirit, confirms Bartholomew. And the others, although they do not speak, are all of the same opinion. I am God, and I am flesh, says Jesus calmly. No one is thinking of killing you, retorts the Iscariot. Please reply to my question. Of course it is a graver crime to kill God. Well, God will be killed by man, in the flesh of the man God, and in the soul of the murderers of the man God, so as they will go so far as committing that crime, without the murderers being horrified at it. So the crimes of fathers, brothers, and children against children, brothers, and fathers will be committed. You will be hated by all men on account of my name, but he who stands firm until the end will be saved. And when they persecute you in one town, take refuge in the next one, not out of cowardice, but to give time to the newborn Church of Christ to reach the age, not of a weak, incapable, unweaned child, but an older age, in which it will be able to face life and death without being afraid of death. Let those flee who are advised by the Spirit to flee, as I fled when a child. Truly, all the vicissitudes of my earthly life will be repeated in my church, all of them, from the mystery of its formation to the humbleness of the early times, to the perturbation and snares brought about by cruel people, to the necessity of fleeing to continue to live, from poverty and unremitting work, to many more events that I am living now, that I will suffer later, before reaching my eternal triumph. On the other hand, let those remain who are advised by the Spirit to remain, because even if they are killed, they will live and be useful to the church, because what the Spirit of God advises is always good. This has been a reading from the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 2. Chapter 264, Part 2. Instructions to the Apostles at the beginning of their Apostolate. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow. May God bless you, and may peace be with you.